All right, guys, let's get into some of the top 10 AI stories this week, and let's do it quick. I highly recommend that if you like the long version of AI this week, go check out Moonshots at Peter Diamandis podcast. I watch it every week. Sometimes they have two shows. Some really good stuff if you don't mind watching 2.5 hours. But let's knock some stuff out here in 10 to 15 minutes. So, story number one, Google's 40 billion Anthropic gamble. Google just blew the doors off the AI investment race, committing a staggering 40 billion to Anthropic. Here's how it breaks down. 10 billion is hitting the bank in cash right now at a 350 billion valuation, with another 30 billion on the table if Anthropic hits performance milestones. We're all using Anthropic right now. Claude is amazing. It's getting better by the day. What's wild is that on secondary markets, Anthropic is already being valued at $1 trillion. Crazy, huh? How fast AI stuff is getting valuated. Meaning Google is essentially getting a 66% discount on the future. Must be nice. This isn't just a charity check. Anthropic is committing to spend $100 billion on cloud services over the next decade. It's the ultimate money for guns trade. The hyperscalers aren't just picking a winner. They are buying every horse in the race to ensure they aren't left behind when AGI arrives. AGI, ASI, artificial general superintelligence, artificial superintelligence is right around the corner. I think we all know it's going to be here before you know it. But let's move on to story number two. OpenAI unveils GPT 5.5, the hallucination killer. Yes, I hate hallucinating AIs, and half the time you don't even really know when it's happening. Just 7 weeks after their last major update, OpenAI dropped GPT 5.5, and the stats are a direct shot at the competition. We're looking at a 37% increase in long context reasoning and a massive 60% reduction in hallucinations. That's amazing compared to 5.4%. It's natively omni-model, meaning it processes text, audio, and video in a single unified architecture. But the real kicker, it's 40% more token efficient. Nice. That means less money for all the stuff that we're going to do, but then we just do 10 times more. We end up paying more anyways. Meaning it does more thinking with less data. Sam Altman is calling this a new class of intelligence. And for the first time, the model can actually remember what happened at the very beginning of a million token window without getting confused by the end. We call that drift. It starts drifting into all kinds of stuff and then becomes useless. You got to start a whole new chat, right? Use AI, you know what I'm talking about. It's starting to feel less like a chatbot and more like a permanent digital colleague. I always say the two things that need to be solved before this thing just blows the lid off everything, and it is AGI, ASI, as far as I'm concerned. The memory, better than most humans, at least it feels that way, and common sense. And I think basically if you take a really good memory structure and you get rid of hallucinations, common sense starts to kind of kick in by default. But that's what AI is missing right now. All right, let's move on to story number three. Google's 8th gen TPUs, Silicon Warfare. Google isn't just building models. They're building the Silicon Foundry for the AI era. They just unveiled their 8th generation of TPUs, specifically the TPU 8T for training and the TPU 8I for inference. These chips are 3 times faster in training performance and offer an 80% better performance per dollar ratio. Sundar Pichai dropped a bombshell fact. Google is now processing over 16 billion tokens per minute. But here's the most sci-fi part of the story. These next-gen TPUs are actually being designed by AI. AI improving AI. That's the future. That's what happens right before ASI. It's recursive self-improvement at the hardware level. Google already owns roughly a quarter of all AI compute on the planet. And with this new hardware, they're looking to turn that into a monopoly. All right, let's move on to story number 4. China's Kimi K26, the trillion parameter bargain. While US labs are spending billions, a Chinese startup called Moonshot AI just released Kimi K2.6, a trillion parameter open weight model. What makes this a moonshot is the efficiency. They trained this beast for just $4.6 million, compared to the hundreds of millions or billions spent by OpenAI and Google. It can run 300 parallel agents natively and costs 30 times less than the leading closed models. It uses a mixture of experts architecture with 128 different expert layers, allowing it to route questions to the most efficient part of the neural net. Whether it's coding or video processing, this model is proving that you don't always need the biggest bank account to build the smartest brain. You just need better math. And I believe Kimi K26 is open source, so you can literally just get a system, drop this on there, and you have your own AI that you're in complete control of, and it's not going to, maybe do the stuff that a ChatGPT, which is so annoying, which is basically try to prevent you from asking the questions or making images the way you want and telling you, oh, you can't do that. This goes against our woke ideology or whatever. That's what it feels like. Anyways, let us move on to number 5. Story number 5, math is cooked, the end of research problems. We are witnessing the death of professional grade math. Experts are tracking a 1% monthly gain in AI performance on the Frontier Math Tier 4 benchmark, which covers professional research level problems. At the current rate of acceleration, every single research grade math problem could be solved by AI within the next 4 to 5 years. Basically, all of math has been solved. Demis Hassabis of Google DeepMind recently shifted his stance, saying it's now a 50-50 coin flip on whether our current scaled up architectures will solve AGI without any further breakthroughs. If the AI can solve the hardest math on Earth, it can solve the hardest physics, chemistry, and engineering problems too. We aren't just building a calculator, we're building the ultimate scientists. AGI, ASI, it's starting to improve itself. Yes, we're going to get there, and I think we're going to get there a lot faster. The thing about AI is it's all exponential, and humans have a very hard time thinking in exponential, except for Elon Musk. He seems to be able to do that. So exponential starts off slower, and in this case, AI doesn't even seem slow, which means it's going to start getting even blindingly faster than anybody can possibly imagine. Story number 6, the agentic government, UAE's 2-year plan. Well, I guess we have to see how the war goes before this is even going to stand a chance. The United Arab Emirates is making a play to become the world's first agentic state. The Prime Minister just announced that within 2 years, 50% of all government services and operations will be run entirely on autonomous AI agents. They are moving at authority speed, aiming to automate everything from visa approvals to city planning. In their eyes, AI is no longer a tool, it's an executive partner that it analyzes, decides, and executes in real time. While Western democracies are still debating regulations, the UAE is proving that a benevolent dictatorship can cut through legacy bureaucracy to create a 30-second approval process for things that used to take 6 months. I do believe that a lot of these like DAO democracies, these groups of people that never get anything done, I think that model will go away when you have something much smarter than human. And why wouldn't you want it to run your government if it's more fair, more honest, and, well, it does have the people's best interest. I think that's important, right? 7, ChatGPT for clinicians, better than your doctor. OpenAI has released a specialized version of ChatGPT for clinicians, and the results are frankly humbling for human doctors. On the Health Bench benchmark, the AI score a 59, while human clinicians average a 43.7 in a massive validation test of 700,000 responses. The AI hit a 99.6% accuracy rate. With a looming shortage of 86,000 physicians over the next decade, the Copilot isn't just a luxury, it's a survival necessity. It can analyze 200 gigabytes of patient data from your genome to your microbiome in seconds, something no human meat puppet doctor could ever hope to do. It's getting to the point where it might actually be considered malpractice to diagnose a patient without an AI in the loop. Here's my prediction. This is all great, but you make this available to the medical industry, the big pharma, all that, they are going to fiddle with it so that it still does the same thing that it does, which is recommend nonsense, anything that they make the most amount of money off, subscriptions, drugs, all that garbage, procedures that you don't really need. They will fiddle with it and they will mess it up and it'll be lame. I predict that this kind of a thing will become open source and eventually we will have first aid AI robots with open source software that people can set up themselves, and you will have a bot. You might have to hack it. It might have to be a jailbroken bot that acts like a doctor, knows more than any doctor out there, and basically has your best interest and not some pharmaceutical nonsense. 8. What do we got here? AI heart surgeons saving 500 lives a year. Every night at 2 a.m., surgeons have to make split-second decisions on whether a doctor heart is viable for transplant. Currently, only one-third of donor hearts actually make it to a patient. But a new AI system from NYU and Stanford called Top Heart is changing the math by analyzing 20 different variables, way more than a sleep-deprived human can process. It provides a second opinion that could save an additional 500 hearts every year. I didn't know this. This is very interesting. Crazy if you think about it. How hearts just wasted, huh? This is part of a larger shift toward an abundance of organs, where AI-driven bioprinting and xenotransplantation are turning a zero-sum death sentence into a waitlist that actually moves. Once again, my prediction, AI, ASI, superintelligence, it'll find a better way to do this, whether it just can go in there with nanobots and fix your heart, or start growing basically cloned body parts of you at a very young age, so you have multiple things ready to go. Who knows? I mean, we are going to the realm of science fiction, so just hold on because it's coming. The pancreatic cancer vaccine breakthrough. Pancreatic cancer has historically been a death sentence with a measly 13% survival rate. Yes, I've heard of people getting it, and for the most part, yeah, it's like a death sentence. But the era of personalized mRNA vaccines is finally here. In recent trials, patients who received a custom vaccine designed by AI to target 20 unique mutations in their specific tumor showed a 87.5% survival rate after 6 years. Wow. The AI sequences your specific cancer. The AI sequences your specific cancer and builds killer missiles in the form of mRNA to activate your immune system. We are moving from generalized medicine to personalized warfare against disease. As one researcher put it, these vaccines are the first battle in the last war against disease. Yeah, this is all crazy stuff, and longevity escape velocity might be something in the near future. It's predicted in about 5 to 6 years. And what that basically means is you're able to do things that reverse your age faster than you actually age. And if you can, for example, rewind 3 years of your age in 2 years, well, after 3 years, you're 1 year younger. All right, story number 10, token maxing, the new SEO flex. What a term, maxing, right? Looks maxing. Like you hear all kinds of maxing, just maxing, all these things. Maxing is the new hip word. There's a wild new trend in Silicon Valley called token maxing. Startup CEOs are now bragging about spending more money on AI tokens and compute than they do on their actual human payroll. The logic: token use is a 10x force multiplier. A CEO might spend $3 million of venture capitalists on compute because they're learning more and executing faster than they ever could with a fleet of human interns. Experts are suggesting a target of 50-50, half your budget for humans, half for tokens. It's a complete inversion of the traditional business model. In the new economy, burning money on AI isn't a failure. It's the ultimate marker of growth and future proofing. Kind of reminds me of last cycle in crypto, where it was almost a badge of honor how much money you were losing on stupid meme coins and altcoins, and everybody talked about it. Oh, I'm such a degen. I just throw money at anything. Well, it sounds like a kind of a similar thing. This stupidity that I guess it's not stupidity, but I guess it's just a form of cope when you're doing something that isn't very efficient. All right, guys. So that's the 10 stories I have. Subscribe, and I'm going to try to do one of these every week and save you a bunch of time. So until then, I'm out.